Imagine waking up tomorrow with half the buying power you had today. Sounds like a nightmare, right? But for millions of Americans, that's the harsh reality of Trumpflation. In the last year alone, gas prices have surged 40%, eggs are up 40%, and rent has skyrocketed 20%. The average American is drowning in debt, with credit card interest rates exceeding 25%. But here's the shocking truth. This economic crisis wasn't caused by a natural disaster or a global pandemic. It was self-inflicted, sparked by policies that were supposed to make America great again. So, what's really going on? And how can you protect yourself from the devastating effects of Trumpflation? Let's dive in and explore the shocking truth behind America's economic crisis. Chapter 1. What is Trumpflation? Alright, first things first, what is Trumpflation? This term is buzzing across headlines, and it refers to the rapid rise in prices due to Donald Trump's economic policies. Now, inflation isn't new. We've been battling it for years, but under Trump's leadership in 2025, it's gotten a whole lot worse. And the craziest part? This inflation is mostly self-inflicted. Let's break it down. The policies being pushed forward, while aiming to create a self-sustaining economy, have inadvertently caused significant disruptions. Whether it's the import taxes on foreign goods, stricter immigration policies leading to labor shortages, or an expanded deficit due to ambitious tax cuts, the consequences are being felt in everyday life. What seemed like economic protectionist measures are now weighing heavily on the wallets of American consumers. Chapter 2. The 3 key reasons Trumpflation is happening. There are 3 major reasons why prices are skyrocketing right now. And trust me, these will shock you. 1. The America First tariffs. Trump has reintroduced massive tariffs on Chinese goods, up to 60% on some products. This means that everything from electronics to clothing to cars is getting more expensive. What's worse, companies aren't absorbing the costs, they're passing them to you, the consumer. Just imagine, you're shopping for a laptop that would have cost you $800 last year. Now, it's priced at $1,200 because of these tariffs. Businesses can't afford to take the hit, so they simply shift the burden on to customers. And it doesn't stop there. These higher prices ripple across the supply chain, affecting wages, small businesses, and ultimately economic growth. And here's where it gets even crazier. Some industries that rely on imported materials, like the automobile and tech sectors, are facing supply chain nightmares. Automakers are reporting production slowdowns, causing new car prices to surge 15-20% in just months. A basic sedan that cost $25,000 in 2024 is now selling for $30,000 or more. This isn't just frustrating. It's reshaping household budgets nationwide. Retailers like Walmart and Target have also warned that price hikes will continue due to import costs. Everyday items, TVs, phones, even sneakers, are suddenly luxury purchases for many families. All this because of tariffs meant to protect the economy, but in reality, they're costing you more money. 2. The immigration crackdown. Here's something that might surprise you. Trump's crackdown on immigration isn't just about politics. It's driving inflation. Too how? Well, the U.S. heavily depends on immigrant workers in industries like construction, farming, and food service. But since Trump has tightened immigration laws and deported thousands of undocumented workers, we're facing a worker shortage. And guess what happens when there aren't enough workers? Prices go up. Agriculture has been hit especially hard. Farms that once relied on migrant labor now can't harvest crops fast enough. The result? Food prices are soaring. A pound of ground beef that cost $5 last year is now hitting $8-9 per pound. Even fast food chains are raising menu prices, with some McDonald's locations charging $8 for a simple burger meal. And it's not just food. Construction companies are struggling to hire workers, delaying new housing developments. This is fueling record-high rent increases. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in major cities has jumped by 25-30% in a single year, making affordable housing a pipe dream for many Americans. 3. The national debt explosion. Here's a fact that might shock you. Trump's latest tax cuts, designed to boost the economy, have instead ballooned the national debt by an extra $3 trillion in just 1 year, and when the government prints more money to cover this debt, inflation skyrockets. The result? Your dollar is worth less, and everything costs more. Right now, the U.S. national debt is nearing $40 trillion, an all-time high that means the government has to pay higher interest on its loans, which pushes up borrowing costs for everyday Americans. Mortgage rates have climbed to 8-9%, pricing millions out of the housing market. Buying a home is becoming an impossible dream for young families. Even credit card interest rates have spiked, with the average APR now exceeding 25%. That means carrying a balance on your credit card could cost you thousands in extra interest just to buy basic necessities. Americans are drowning in debt, and the storm is only getting worse. So, while tax cuts may sound great on paper, they're leading to an economy where the rich benefit and the middle class struggles to survive. The gap between rich and poor is widening faster than ever. With these three massive forces, tariffs, labor shortages, and national debt, working against everyday Americans, the future looks uncertain. The question is, how much worse will Trumpflation get? Chapter 3. The real-life impact of Trumpflation. So how is Trumpflation actually affecting real Americans? Let's break it down with some jaw-dropping numbers. Gas prices have surged by 40% since 2024, making daily commutes and road trips painfully expensive. Eggs are now averaging $7 per dozen, a direct result of supply chain disruptions and labor shortages. Rent has increased by 20% nationwide, pushing millions into housing insecurity as wages struggle to keep up. Mortgage rates have climbed to 8%, making homeownership an impossible dream for many first-time buyers. Car prices continue to rise due to production slowdowns and additional tariffs on imported auto parts. The effects are being felt everywhere, from the grocery store to the gas pump, from skyrocketing rent to inflated car payments. The American middle class is being squeezed harder than ever before, with little relief in sight. Chapter 4. What's next? So, what happens next? Will inflation continue to climb, or will things stabilize? Economists are divided on the issue. Some argue that Trump's policies may eventually force companies to bring jobs back to the U.S., potentially creating long-term stability. Others, however, warn that if these strategies continue unchecked, the country could be heading toward a full-blown economic crisis, possibly worse than the 2008 financial meltdown. There is growing concern that if inflation remains unchecked, the Federal Reserve will have no choice but to impose drastic interest rate hikes. This could further slow economic growth, putting additional pressure on businesses and consumers alike. While companies attempt to navigate these unpredictable market conditions, millions of Americans are left wondering when, or if, relief will ever come. Chapter 5. What can you do? In the face of Trumpflation, what can the average American do to protect themselves? One strategy is to buy in bulk before prices rise even further, ensuring essential goods are secured at a lower cost. Investing wisely in assets that tend to hold value during inflationary periods, such as gold, cryptocurrency, or real estate, could also provide a safeguard against economic instability. Another smart move is to shop strategically by using coupons, comparing prices, and avoiding unnecessary expenses wherever possible. Looking for additional sources of income, whether through freelancing or starting a small business, can help offset the financial strain caused by rising costs. For those considering loans, locking in fixed-rate options now could be a crucial decision before interest rates climb even higher. Closing, call to action. One thing is certain, Trumpflation isn't going away anytime soon. Now that you have the facts, the big question is, what do you think? Will Trump's economic policies ultimately help or hurt the United States in the long run? Join the conversation in the comments below and share your thoughts.